Do you have your retirement plan in order? Hey guys, welcome back. Many people think that you don't start to think about your retirement plans until you're into your early 60s or maybe 60, possibly think about it at 55. But in actual fact, nothing could be further from the truth. The fact is, many Canadians retire with not enough income to supplement their lifestyle after retirement. And in a lot of cases, that forces folks to work long past when they're capable of working or long past when they desire to work. And we really need to start thinking about our retirement much earlier. And for those folks that are in their 20s and early 30s and even in their 40s, it's never too early to start to plan. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the multiple different sources of income and the way you can use the market and your TFSA or RRSP to supplement that income in retirement. Stick around. Many years ago, I remember my father, who was a truck driver at the time, God rest his soul, telling me about a pension plan that he had at his place of employment and how fortunate and grateful he was that he had such a plan. I didn't quite understand all of it at the time, but now fast forward to 2023, and boy oh boy, do I understand. Not many companies anymore offer a pension plan to its employees. My wife and I, however, are in the extremely fortunate position that we both have pensions at our places of employment. As I've mentioned in a few past videos, my wife has retired, and because of the financial situation, allowed us to move from where we were to where we are currently. And the money that we made on the sale of that previous house and the purchase of the new one, my wife was able to retire a year early and not have received any of her pension. That's coming up in January of 2023 when she's actually eligible to start receiving her payments. Myself, I'm still working, but again, in a pension plan, and both of our plans are a defined benefit plan, which means you are guaranteed a certain percentage of the wages that you earned while working based on the number of years that you actually did work at that place of employment. And as I said in the beginning, this is one of, or probably the best option for most people when they retire, is any sort of pension plan through any of the places that they work. But when those employers do not provide a pension, what are folks to do? Really, the only other option is Canada Pension Plan and investments, and then at the age of 65, old age security. So let's look a little deeper then at CPP. The maximum CPP payment that you can receive monthly at age 65 is currently $1,306.57 each month. Not even enough to pay rent in most of the areas of Ontario and probably most of Canada for that matter. And the average April 2023 payment for CPP was $760.07. What that means is there's very, very few people that earned enough, made enough in all of their years of working to receive that maximum benefit of $1,306 and change. And most people are more around the $760 range. And if that's the average, you have to think there's people that are over that and there's people that are under that. Not a great payment every month for our seniors that are retired. Add to that old age security, which is currently $691 per month. If you add those two together, you're looking at approximately $2,000 per month in benefits to people that have retired at age 65. And in the case of old age security, you cannot receive that until you're 65. In the case of Canada Pension Plan, you can receive it, but for each year that you receive it before the age of 65, it's reduced in the amount that you receive. I've looked at my history and I've contacted CPP as I've worked my entire life from the time I was 18 years old. I've never been unemployed and I've always had a paying position and paid into CPP. And I've been told that if I maintain my full-time status and work until I'm 65, I'll receive $1,179 per month based on the current rates. Certainly not a great payment for any of us looking to retire. So what does that leave us? Well, Failing any lottery win, major inheritance from some form of family, investments are really your only other option unless you plan to work into your 70s and beyond. And that's where I wanted to talk about the plan that my wife and I have. Because we've been really fortunate enough to sell our home and get into a new home at just under half the cost, we were able to put a lot of money into our investments. And at this point in time, we have about 110 or $115,000 invested, with the majority of that into dividend paying stocks. And for those that are in their 20s or those that are in their 30s, I really would like you guys to pay attention to this, because this is something that I've always said that the younger investors have so much time on their side, and time is the real big calculator here when you look at future investment values based on current values. And of course, you need to be successful in those investments. But when you look at some of the companies that we are invested in, companies like Canadian banks, Scotiabank, TD, Bank of Montreal, TELUS, CN Rail, Alimentation Couche-Tard, Fortis, Canadian Tire, and the like, these are highly successful companies that really have a long track record of doing well within their business and paying out very decent, good dividends to their shareholders. And this is where my wife and I are at in our investing journey. Now, mind you, we're in our 50s, but we are currently looking at about $500 per month between the two of us for dividend income. The fact that this is in our TFSA, it's also not taxable dividend income, meaning the only things that we would be taxed on is our pension when we begin to receive it, as well as CPP and OAS whenever we begin to receive that as well. You could also do this in an RSP and you could get the tax advantages right now, but when you begin to collect that income in your retirement or whenever you decide to start collecting it, just note that it is taxed at that point. That's one of the benefits of the TFSA from my perspective. So those dividends that we do receive every month within our TFSA being reinvested along with our additional contributions into our TFSA, those are what has grown us to approximately $500 monthly between the two of us. And the plan right now is to keep reinvesting those dividends and keep contributing into our TFSAs until the point where we actually plan to retire. And at that point, I don't know what that is. As I said, my wife is already retired. Myself, I don't know. I may go 5, I may go 10. I certainly don't plan to go any more past 10. But if we can grow those dividends over the next 5 to 10 years and keep compounding those returns and increasing that monthly amount that we get paid, we could potentially almost come out receiving more in income from our investments monthly than what we receive in our Canada Pension Plan payments. Now, of course, you could do that with purchasing a stock as well and just looking at the pure growth within the stock. Our choice, however, has been the dividend paying stocks. And of course, I've talked about it in a number of videos as well. Not only dividend paying stocks with a growth rate within the dividend, as well as some growth within the capital of the stock itself. So that's going to wrap it up for this week. And as I always say, this has not been investing advice, but something that I wish a lot of you out there would consider and look at. The earlier you look at this, the better off you'll be. And as I've said to you in the past, if you start looking at this in your 20s and your 30s, a little bit always helps and a little bit always goes a long way when you consider that you're potentially looking at 25 or 35 or more years before you retire. I wanted to also say at the end of this video, I really appreciate everybody in the last video where I've asked you to tell me a little bit about yourself. It was certainly great to get to know a number of you, a number of the subscribers on this channel, and a lot of the comments in there making very positive comments about my channel and some of the things that I've talked about. It certainly is appreciated. I do this for fun only. I don't charge anything. I don't ask for money. I never will ask for money. But it really is good to know that people out there are enjoying the content that I'm putting up. As I always ask at the end of every episode, if you've enjoyed this and you're not already a subscriber, I would politely ask you to please consider hitting that Marksy's Place icon and subscribing to the channel, as well as hitting that like button. Until next time, take care and we'll talk to you soon.